All right, we should be live. Welcome to Talking Investing. I'm Tom.
I'm tired, George.
He's tired, George.
And I've been drinking sugar and eating sugar.
You're crashing now.
No, I just got done eating it. I mean, like minutes ago.
Oh well, then you shouldn't be tired. You should be getting into your sugar buzz right now.
That's what I'm thinking. You know? Make it make sense, Tom. Make it make sense.
If only I could.
Make it make sense, Tom.
Make it make sense. Hey, Sour Melon Gaming. Hey, Mr. Stonks. Hey, JD. How are you?
I think we'd be at minor prices this low. Hey, gang.
So there were a few miners today that hit a new all-time low. So
really?
I'm going to pull up a chart that I've been showing in my videos because I just updated it quickly before we went online here, and it's just unbelievable. These stocks have been beaten down.
Let me see. Not Bitfarms. Oh yeah, Bitfarms.
I'll go all the way down to these. I never talk about these down here, but these are some of the smaller, and they're not pure play necessarily. But all this, I'm going to cover those up because I don't care about those.
Well,
red.
If it makes anybody feel better, Bitcoin's higher than I thought it would be.
Oh, you thought it was going to be worse than this? Well, you can see you should see a green line on the screen at just around 19,200. It looks like that might not be holding, but it's definitely struggling with it right now. That's what I was hoping would hold. It went up. Yesterday on my video, I said, I hope we go up. Let's try and get up and test this line. We did test this. We ran this line for hours. We almost tested it again, and now we fell down. But we need to find support here. If we go through this, then it's back down we go. So I'm still thinking this rally has legs and is going to continue, believe it or not. And when I say rally, I'm just talking 2-3 weeks. Between now and...
You don't think we got Bloody Tuesday coming up?
Between now and when Grandpa Powell comes out and tanks the market, as he tends to do. Hello, Barry. Shortest relief rally yet. Here's my excuse, and they can prove me wrong by the end of the day Monday. Friday this year, other than 2 or 3 Fridays, Friday's been red every single Friday all year long. And we did have a monster bounce yesterday. So we gave a bunch of it back. I don't think, if we can hold this green line at 19,200-ish, if we can stay above 19,000, I'm calling the rally still on. Today was a Friday exception. Hey, Seth, how's it going? Rob, how are you? Rob, I sold... So Rob S. is asking, what did you do with your Romeo Power shares? As soon as they got bought out, I just sold them. And I'm glad I did, because they've actually crashed since then. But there was just no upside left to them at that point for me. And I had already made a video before that saying, listen, the risk profile on Romeo has changed. This company's got a big problem. And then when they got bought out, I bailed. But they're down to, man, I'm gonna go find them. They were down to 30-something cents. 35 cents. Yeah. I mean, I think it was like 76 cents or something like that was the exchange at the day the trade went through, the day they announced it. So it's down another 50% from there. This is ridiculous. Volta, by the way, that is its 52-week low right there today. So there's stocks all over the place hitting their 52-week low. I did do for members only last week. I did a Tesla video, and I didn't do that for the general public because whenever I do a Tesla video for the general public, it is my absolute worst performing video by a mile. So I don't even bother anymore. But I did, back when Tesla was at around 245, I called 205 on that one. So I feel like I got that one. Don't get them all, but you know, your record's better these days if you just predict something's gonna drop to a new low. That's.
Oh my goodness! Remember when I said if Stronghold gets to $1, I'm gonna buy it?
It took it
95
out.
cents. Wow.
I'm gonna go to Stronghold because this is a company. This market cap is now so tiny that this is a $21 million market cap company. I mean, these guys are even before they were Bitcoin mining, they were, you know, they've got an energy business. They've got a lot of, their book value's got to be way higher than that. I'm going to see what Yahoo says. I don't want to go all the way and trace back to their actual price book 0.14. That might be the worst number I've ever seen ever. You want to talk about priced for going out of business? Price book 0.14? Unbelievable.
Explain what that means, Tom.
That means the book value of this, the stock is trading at 14% of the book value of the company.
Oh my goodness.
So usually stocks, like, pick a stock. Just pick a normal stock. We're going to do this at random. Give me a stock.
Apple?
Apple. I feel like that's not a random stock. But okay, let's go look at Apple. This will really show you what the deal is. Price book 38. So Apple's trading at 38 times its book value, and Stronghold's trading at 14% of its book value.
Okay, I'll give you a middle of the road. Peloton. It's another crappy company.
Yeah, these guys, not financial advice, but I'm personally steering clear of this stock like the plague, even though they keep putting news out that seems like it's good news. To me, their business model does not make sense.
Let's see. Oh, they're 0.79.
No, price book 5.
Oh, 5.
So
wow.
That's 400 times better than Stronghold.
And I would say that Stronghold's going to be open longer than Peloton.
I mean, if they don't go out of business, their stock's going to recover greatly, and they've taken big steps to move in the right direction to stay liquid. Obviously, their business model has taken a huge hit. Things have changed for them, and we're talking about Stronghold, which is one of the smaller Bitcoin miners, and now it's even smaller still since they've had to kind of make some major changes to what they're doing. But those changes allowed them to survive, and they are not priced like they're going to survive. I mean, here's Peloton, which is a nightmare stock. They're trading at a 5-to-1 book value. And if we go back,
and I bet you Stronghold, they got to be, well, I mean, I'm going to say profitable, but I don't know how they're accounting for mining and, you know, yada yada.
They've had a lot of, this is a bad year. Non-reoccurring events happened this year. They had to reshuffle the whole deck. So there's no doubt this was a bad year. But I mean, how bad is bad? It's at 94 cents. So let's see what this is down. Oh, we gotta go with that. Oh yeah. Keep going.
What's DTY?
We're not even close.
Should hopefully top out next week. I have an XY, and I don't know if it's the same. Bank money. Is that the
Look at this
stock?
Look at this. This is how much scrolling I had to do. So
is this like a ski lift?
This is a Stronghold. So this is where they were when Bitcoin peaked. So obviously everything's way down from there. Let me get as close as I can here. I mean, somewhere around 97 or 98% down. I mean,
Wow.
at that point, you got to make a call. If you think that company's staying in business, their stock is highly likely to go up from here. However, it's a risk-reward situation, right? I mean, they had what could only be classified as a very bad year this year. But these stocks are over, and the Bitcoin miners are oversold. We are back in the mode where money has evaporated out of the, small cap, high growth. The risk on trade is dead. At least for today it was. And you can see with these things hitting, some of these things hitting all-time new lows. Core Scientific hit its new all-time low today. I mean, it's trading at $1.11. They mined over 1,000 Bitcoin last month. So now their balance sheet is a little rough to look at, but it's another one where it's like these are the make or break. If you're a high risk person, then these are stocks you're likely to invest in because the upside is monumental and, the downside is zero. So, got to be willing to take that risk. Don't invest money that you need to use in the next 5 years, is the rule of thumb. So let's go back. This is Bitcoin on the 15 minutes. So we look like we've steadied a little bit. We'll see what happens. The EV sector, here's my, I don't know if you guys can see this. Here's my EV stock. So anything electric vehicle related, whether they make electric vehicles or batteries or charging stations. Okay, so this is an outlier, but XL is at its all-time low. So this is a stock, and I've lost confidence in this company. They've completely changed their business model, but these guys got to be down. They're trading at much less than the cash they have in the bank. And Arrow, the same thing. Arrow is trading for half the cash they have in the bank with no debt. So those two companies were in the green. Otherwise, the EV stocks got destroyed today. Tesla was down 7.5%. You know how much market cap that is? I don't either, but I bet
They're
it's a
going
lot.
after him hard, by the way. Did you hear about that with the Fed investigation?
No, what's going on? Bring us up to
Because he's
speed.
buying Twitter. They're investigating him right now.
Regarding the Twitter side of things, or who knows?
Who knows?
So Lucid Motors is another one that's at its all-time low right now. They're trading now at $11.89. I mean, I'm just looking at the list. You can just pick them off. The ones that aren't at their all-time low, they're within 3 cents, 5 cents of their all-time low. I mean, it's just small cap, high growth stocks are a nightmare right now. So the question is, how long can you stomach that? Because what if it stays this way for, George thinks maybe we could have, another year of this. Let me not speak for you. What do you think, George?
Yeah. I mean, I think that you don't want my answers. No one likes
We
these
want the
answers.
truth.
You can't handle the truth. I think that, again, this has been all over. Sorry, it always becomes political, but I have to say it. I shouldn't say this. But anyways, it has been proven that Joe Biden made a phone call to OPEC and said, do not cut your production until after, say like the 27th of November.
Well, did they listen to him, though?
They posted everything that he said to them. Like, they recorded it and sent it back out so the world will know. So, next year, dude, I'm hearing that they're talking about beef could double again in price by the middle of next year.
They're coming after beef. There's no doubt.
They're coming hard. I mean, that's what I'm hearing. Yeah, it's very subject. So, they don't like Bitcoin, and when I say they, it's whoever they are. I still don't know who they are, but they don't like Bitcoin, but because I believe, Bitcoin is a truth metrics. I think there's no way to manipulate it, and I think there's no way to sabotage it versus some other coins that you can do that to, especially when what are they, the validators and the other ones?
The proof of stake
See, yeah,
coins.
it's so sad that you can take something that was such for good. Well, I shouldn't say that because those bastards always want to make a ton of money. That's why their freaking gas fees are so expensive. They're mighty proud of themselves. But there's just a lot of flux. And here's the other problem. And no one's even talking about it. Regulations.
Yep, regulations are looming
Like they're
over our head.
huge. And I'm hearing that it's going to be a felony to trade if you trade off network. I mean, I don't know how they catch you, but
Yeah, I
there's
don't know.
always.
Even if
Yeah,
they
yeah,
did
are
that,
you a knock? There's always a knock out there.
That's entrapment.
Yes. Yes. So.
But yeah, I wouldn't even. I don't want them to do that. But even if they did that, I feel like once we get our regulations, that is one of the things that's going to be a massive upward catalyst for Bitcoin, because the unknown always pushes stocks down. If there's an unknown variable, it drives, and Bitcoin's not a stock, but it's the same principle. It drives the asset value down, and that is a gigantic unknown variable. So no matter what they do, short of banning Bitcoin, which they can't do and they're not going to do, I think that's going to be a big boost for Bitcoin as the regulations start coming
Tom,
in.
maybe you didn't hear me. Are you or are you not a narc?
A knock?
What? What am I saying? Something like you don't understand? Are you or are you not a narc? Sorry.
I'm not a knock.
What movie was that from? Anybody know?
I know.
You do?
That's from Heat.
Let them guess.
Oh, well, too late.
No, I said it loud enough that no one heard you.
Oh, okay. Alex said, "I'm riding the Peloton bike into the wall." Yeah, that's
Bam.
That's a good. That's about all you can do with it. Let's see. Eric saying
Congress
OTC,
quietly introduced a bill allowing the 401k plans to invest in BTC. Classic case of government talking out of both sides of their mouth. No, I think that's the classic case of they want to move their money into Bitcoin. Right? Don't you think so?
I mean, I think big money's been creeping in all along here as we bounce along the bottom for months and months and months. This is their time to accumulate. There's no doubt. Barry said, European regulations coming in seem to be generally positive, I think. It's not just USA. So, yeah, I mean, well, and there was some, early on, there was some, radical suggestions that got shot down in Europe. So, there's no doubt. We got to look at the whole world. And, Canada is going to be very important because a lot of these miners are in Canada. So, we got to see everything, but we have to wait.
CleanSpark is $2.83?
Yeah.
Just so you guys know, I have no money in any stock right now except Luxfolio, and I just kept it there, but it was only like $1,000.
Well.
And the money I lost, I already made, so I didn't really lose anything. Wow.
Everything, I mean, throw a dart at the board now. They're all, and everything got taken, other than DigiHost, which, when I show you my chart, I'll go to that next. DigiHost has been destroyed. Everything was right. I mean, Mawson was down 15% today. That's got destroyed. Gree was down.
Dude, you know what might be really good to buy today? I don't know if you bought them. Options for 2023. I mean, 2024.
We got to get the 2025 options so that it's after the halving.
Yeah.
There's a big premium on them, but I mean, I think if they get to with the stocks getting beat up like this, I think people are going to take a closer look at those 2025. I mean, and it's a win-win for everybody because the people selling them, are making a giant return on their money. It's just could be just a small fraction of what they would have made had they just held the stock and not sold them.
They have the 25th. They have January 17th, 2025.
Barry's saying that he saw today 13% of Canadians own Bitcoin. That's high. Good. That's good.
So let's see. The $1 ones moved 27% today.
For who?
The Bitfarm $1
Bitfarm
strike.
2025?
Yeah, at January 17th, 2025. They went up almost 28% in one day.
They went up today?
Yeah.
That doesn't even... Sometimes it's just the bid-ask is funny and there's not much volume, so it gets to be a...
Open, yeah, there's only 25 that sold, but there's open of 1,983.
Yeah, that's pretty decent.
But I can't believe that somebody would buy... Oh, no. Bid, ask, last price. The bid is 60, the ask is 76. For $1.
I mean, just buy the stock.
I know. Why would anybody do that? I don't understand.
The Bitfarms is 95 cents. I'm not going to spend 76 cents for an option to buy a 95-cent stock.
It doesn't make sense to me.
Right. That number's got to get a lot lower before it's interesting. That's why I'm saying, like, that's why they're selling them. They're practically pulling a double just selling that call. I don't know what is going on my chat. Oh, that's my fault. That's my technology issue. Sorry. I'm back.
I didn't tell you that my nephew got in a really bad car accident and he's having a CAT scan done. He was up there at Punta Gorda and all the stop signs has blown away, right? So he doesn't know the area and he's on some back roads with two roads come together and he blew it off and he didn't see the other guy coming. That guy didn't see him coming and he blew it off.
Serious?
Yeah, and they totaled both the cars.
That's not good.
No, not at all.
Not good. Not good. All right, let me bring up... Where's my... I updated this, so there's the data. This is... Okay, so... This is not right. That's not the right one. This is the right one. Okay. So, some of you guys might recognize this chart. I've put it in a bunch of the videos. This is I think I got 18 of the big publicly traded Bitcoin miners on here. This is their performance over basically the last 100 days. I'm measuring it from the low that they hit in the summer. Because all the Bitcoin miners hit a new 52-week low in somewhere, in the end of June or beginning of July. For most of those companies, it was an all-time low, but for some of them, it was just their 52-week low. So this is what they've done since then. So we are now to a point where the vast majority of these companies have now significantly taken out their all-time lows. But here's the thing. If you look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin's up 9% off of its low. So if you look at Bitcoin versus, all these companies, you got CleanSpark down 25% while Bitcoin's up 9%. So these are all down 25% off of its low. And I'm calling that its all-time low. CleanSpark did trade prior to this before they were a Bitcoin mining company. So they now have 100% changed into a Bitcoin company. So since they did that, the summer was their all-time low, and they've now crushed that. They're down 25%
Can you make that any bigger, Tom?
I should be able to make this bigger. Is it hard to read?
Yeah, it's just hard.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. Now we're missing one. Because I want to know, oh my god, I can't believe that CleanSpark is 20... They're rating like CleanSpark with Annie?
Yeah, that's performed this along the same lines as any since its lows from the summer. So this is the list. This is the list I'm paying the most attention to because there are just some things on here that you can see, and it's why a lot of people, you know, I do have Riot and Hut I hold positions in, but the thing is they've so much outperformed everybody else. I'm not adding to them right now when they're up 44% off of their lows, and I can add to CleanSpark, which is down 25% off of its lows. I mean, that's
got to be the play.
It's almost a 70% difference. So I'm not saying these are bad investments. I have investments in some of these. I'm just not adding to them right now. I'm looking for opportunities. I'm looking for, and I've said this over and over and over, I'm looking for companies that are giving excellent monthly operational updates, and their stock's getting killed for it anyway. To me, that's the buying opportunity. But it's scary, I know, because these things keep hitting, you know, every time you buy it at its 52-week low or its all-time low, and then what does it do next? It hits a new all-time low. And then another one, and then another one, and then another one. So it's very hard, but I know a lot of you guys have diamond hands, which is a term I have never used before, but it applies. A lot of you guys are very good at buying and holding, and if you're going to be in the Bitcoin mining space, you've got to be, or it's just a nightmare. I mean, that's the only thing you can do. Barry's saying less and less green bars in the graph these days. Yeah, this looked a lot better a few weeks ago. When I started making this chart, Marathon was up 250%. So now they're still up almost double, 98%, but they've pulled way back. But like today, let's take Hut and Riot. So those are second and third place. So Hut performed well. Hut was down 4%. Not that that's good performance, but Riot was down almost 10%. Marathon was down 8%. Core Scientific was down 10.5%. But these guys at the top, to me, there's just more room to the downside. I mean, Mawson was down 15%, and they're already in last place. So that's a tough one. They've had a lot of tough times. So, you know, if they survive, then it's going to turn out that they're wildly underpriced. But look at these. Argo blockchain is down 52%. They were up. They were up a week ago. They're down like 60% in the last weekish. Let me go to that chart. I mean, they have gotten just decimated. Is anybody invest in Argo or hold Argo? So this was just over a week ago. You can see they had this giant gap down, and they've been going down ever since. But from that close, I mean, they're down 56%. I think that's the last 7 trading days. That's a disaster. They're more than cut in half in 7 days. So, you know, they put out a press release that was ugly. So I did a video on that if you wanted to see a deep dive. They did have some not so good news, but I don't think it warranted a 57% pullback in their stock, in my opinion. Having said that, I'm not buying it at this price either. So Eric's saying I'm waiting for Riot to retest its lows and Marathon. That's the mindset I'm in. I'm not gonna. There's too much room to the downside right now on these guys. I'm not ready to start averaging into them. Like even something like, I'll tell you, I like Iris. So they're up 18%, and that's something I haven't bought yet, but that's something I would consider at up 18%, but not up 44% or 98%. Iris has had a great year. They have grown more than any, just as a percentage, they've had the largest growth out of anybody this year, by far. And really the other ones in that group, I mean, Core Scientific has had massive. I think the top four are Iris Energy, CleanSpark, Bitfarms, and Core Scientific have had the biggest growth in the year 2022, I believe, just from an exahash standpoint. So those guys have all ramped up massively. Eric saying Argo's in the UK, aren't they? With the extreme energy spike. Yeah, how will they survive, as Eric is asking, and that's a good question. So, oh, Ed is saying we can't see the bottom. Can you not see the names?
No, we just can't see a couple on the end here. Greenidge. That's a Greenidge.
Let me see if this helps.
Yeah, there you go. A little bit more.
A little bit more. When you can see Midgie, then we're done.
Midgie.
Can you guys see that?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, we're good.
Stretch it out for effect.
Ooh, that's good. That helped.
So, yeah, I mean, Mawson's down 57%. Gree is down 46% from their all-time low. I mean, I know a lot of people had a bad experience at the beginning of Gree, but that's pretty shocking in my opinion.
Do you think Stronghold can hold?
Yes, I've actually started to build a position in Stronghold, so not financial advice. That's what I'm doing. But I think they're, all of these are so far oversold. But Stronghold's down 35% from its all-time low. I mean, come on. They're either that's a yes or no. I won't say binary situation because now all of a sudden that means something different. But essentially, that's what it is. That's a pass-fail. They're either going to survive and go up massively, or they're going to go out of business and go to zero. I mean, those are the only two things. I suppose they could get bought out for some kind of pennies on the dollar, which is the same as going out of business. So, and they made some moves that were very good. They had a very bad year, but they have done a lot to get themselves into a better liquidity situation. And so I'm encouraged. It's certainly not my biggest position, but by any means, but I have started to move into that one.
This is crazy. I want to tell you something. So, because of Florida's little hurricane, I just want to tell you a sidebar. Sorry, guys. Because they said Florida said that general contractors, residential contractors, are allowed to perform roof work during the repairs, installation of any type of work until, get this, November 22nd, 22. You can't even buy or get the materials to do a roof by November. You couldn't even get a permit if you wanted a permit by November 2022 of 22.
Yeah, they're going to be building roofs for years in Southwest
Florida. But why would they do that? I mean, what's the point of even going out and selling roofs if you can only do it for a month? I mean, that's how stupid our government is.
Well, wait, they'll keep extending it.
I know, but it's like you're going to go and spend money and, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it puts people in a holding pattern. There's a lot of work to be done. I want to ask Maddox. Maddox said lost 200K in, it says Greenidge, I think is what you're talking about, but he didn't sell yet. So he's down 200K, but has not sold. So, I mean, this is where it gets hard, because this is where a lot of people have already sold or are, can't stomach it anymore and sell. But to me, the way I look at that is, I'd be adding to my position at these numbers. So, I mean, it's no fun to be way down like that, but I think most of the people on this stream probably have some, whatever scale they're at, whether it's 2,000 or 20,000 or 200,000. Everybody's lost some good money here, I imagine. Eric's saying Stronghold has good management, in my opinion. They took some serious action, and they got some stuff done I didn't think they had any chance of getting done. So I am impressed. Gary is saying Argo would have been better to do and at the market and keep their miners. Yeah, Gary, I'll finish reading what you said in a minute, but what you just said right there, for them to sell they sold over 4,000 miners that were still brand new and in the box. So that's just a bad look. From an investor's standpoint, that says very, very bad and scary things. So I agree. They would have been better off doing anything else they possibly could have. Especially, simultaneously, they raised $27 million. So they still had to sell 4,000 brand new machines on top of that. I mean, it was very confusing and very disheartening for investors. And that's why what you just said is why they're down. It's not the $27 million dilution. That was a 15 or 16% dilution. It's the fact, and it's only 4,000 machines, so it's not even like it was a lot of money. It just sends a signal that says we are in deep trouble and desperate. Whether that's the case or not, that's the message they're sending by doing that. People reacting to, and the rest of what Gary said, people reacting to any negative news, same as CleanSpark and management compensation. Any bad news is huge. Yeah, that's why CleanSpark is down 25% from its all-time low. Management compensation. That's the reason. And they're aggressive with press releases, and they've been extremely active. I mean, their growth is astounding. And yet, they continue to fall and fall. If everybody could remember to smash the like button, please, we would appreciate it. I know it seems silly, but it helps. It helps the channel. And thank everybody for all the likes and all the comments that we've gotten. This is the best group. We have the best group ever. So thank you guys for doing what you do. Well, and I say guys because according to my YouTube statistic, you're all guys. So if there's any women out there, you're welcome aboard, but probably not. Matrix is saying, yeah, greenage. Barry said, Google accepting crypto in Web 3 deal with Coinbase. I know I haven't dug into that yet. I gotta get my arms around that. 2 years ago, market would have gone nuts with that info. Yeah, that would have been like that would have been the biggest news in history, and now it doesn't even move the needle.
Do you think it's because their people have gotten burned so much on crypto, the middle class, or do you think it's that there's just not a lot of liquidity? Or
I think from a Bitcoin or Bitcoin miner standpoint, everything
related to crypto.
I think that from a Bitcoin miner standpoint, the retail investors have been scared to the point where the people on this live stream with us right now, we are who's left.
Right.
It was abandoned ship time for most people a long time ago, and you can see, I mean, this chart I keep updating this chart. There was only a few red items the first time I did this. Now, most of this chart is red, meaning most of these companies have taken out their 52-week or all-time lows. So, people have run to the hills. I think they're doing the same thing with crypto in general. You mentioned a couple of the big reasons.
They're dirty. Sorry.
There's regulations hanging over their head. There's ESG FUD. I just read a thing yesterday. I got to do another video. I thought the first report that I read was bad, but this one's blows it away.
Oh, it's really?
Yeah. I'll tell it's from, if you want to find it, it's the Digiconomist. And there's really only two. There's the Cambridge report and the Digiconomist. Those are the two people that, try and put out information measuring the amount of carbon that Bitcoin mining is putting into the air. And I can just tell you, like, I'll have to wait. I don't want to just spout miscellaneous things, but let's just say the data they're using is more than 5 years old. The machines that they're using to judge this by...
Bitcoin less green than ever before.
Is that a headline you're reading?
Yeah, it says it's written by Kevin O'Leary. I don't know.
Trust me, there is, if you're not reading it, there is a headline on the Digiconomist that says that. They're trying to say it's now less green than ever, but they have...
Yeah, I know. That's what I just said.
There's
Bitcoin less green than ever before.
When you read their methodology, it's... I don't even know where to begin. The reason I haven't finished that video yet is I just keep looking at it like, how can something be this far off on everything? I mean, it's just clear to me, in my opinion, which I will relay in more detail, that this is just a cause somebody has against Bitcoin. Period. And it's Bitcoin in specific. It's proof of work.
I mean, this is crazy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 articles are written about Bitcoin, and they didn't write about anything else except Dogecoin.
Yeah.
Why don't they say Bitcoin economists?
Darren's saying, read an article yesterday that Bitcoin is outperforming the stock market year to date. So I'll have to double check that. I know none of it's good. The S&P, I think, is down like 25%, and the NASDAQ's down over 30%.
Ethereum Energy Consumption Index.
Well, they stopped
They're talking about the carbon footprint now of Ethereum.
I mean, the carbon footprint of Ethereum now is negligible. I mean, they just drastically reduce. I don't like what they did. That's just a personal opinion, moving from proof of work to proof of stake.
Right.
But it's an undisputable fact. It drastically reduces the amount of energy they use. They use an insignificant amount of energy. It's a rounding error. But the thing that people don't realize is so is Bitcoin. But they frame it in these ways that make it look like a disaster. So
yeah, I'm looking at it now.
It's all, it's all how you look at something. Plus, which, like I said, they're basing it on Bitcoin mining machines that have been retired for. There's not one of those plugged in on this earth at this point, because they would be losing monumental amounts of money based on their efficiency level. I mean, the machines have gotten 100 times more efficient. You cannot be Bitcoin mining with your 5 or 6 or 7 year old Bitcoin miner. It just, I mean, they're unplugging the S17s right now. Never mind, this was 8 generations before that. Hey, jury, welcome.
And this is written by somebody in the Netherlands, I think. Somebody who was born in 1990 as a hobby project.
That article?
Yeah. Who's the founder of this?
Yeah, I mean, and
Digi economy.
And they show the person. I'm gonna go line by line because it's worth looking at. This is the kind of it. We want the right information out there. Everybody should agree. Whatever the information is, we should all agree that we want the actual information. If it's good, if it's bad, whatever it is, tell us what's actually going on. Don't, these falsehoods, they're not helping anything. Okay, Luck is saying, Bitfarms, for me, it's easy with Canadian versus US dollars. I'm waiting for another leg down. I mean, Bitfarms, that's one of my personal favorites. You guys probably know. So Seth is asking, what is the energy consumption of Chase? Exactly. So they don't even do that. And the statistics they give, Seth, you should check this out. Your head will explode. The Digiconomist, go look at their methodology. It's laughable. Bitcoin will be king. just 21 million. How many millionaires are there? Says Eric. Yeah, so obviously there's a lot more millionaires in the world than there are Bitcoin. So when it's all said and done with, that, most millionaires won't even have one Bitcoin. Seth saying, why does no one ask that question? Yeah, because it just doesn't fit their narrative, so they don't want to talk about the fact that they actually didn't. One of the articles was comparing how much worse mining Bitcoin was than mining gold for the environment, and that is just so grotesquely... Oh, sorry. They weren't even saying mining Bitcoin. They were just saying using a transaction. So using Bitcoin to buy something was creating more CO2 than mining gold, was the point of this article. So,
well, it's funny. I just pulled that up, Tom.
yeah.
It's almost look like this is show prep, and it says that Bitcoin can only do 7 transactions per second, and most financial institutions like Visa handle 65,000 transactions per second if needed.
Well, Visa and MasterCard handle a lot more transactions. And, you know, transactionally speaking, most of the stuff's going to get done on the Lightning Network or something else like that. So it
doesn't even talk about the Lightning Network.
Right. So using that, that's what I'm saying. Like the premise that they're using, that's not, it's just not the reality of what's happening. So they can twist and turn it into whatever they want. Barry saying Elizabeth Warren is coming Texas mining. Is she going after Texas mining?
Great.
Darren is saying the media doesn't want or allow accurate reports on Bitcoin. I mean, I find that to be true. I would agree with that statement. It's like it's hard to say, you know, it's hard to tell the truth. Mr. Charles, Tom, love the live stream
so
and daily videos. Do you have any OTC miner stocks that interest you? DMG, Cathedra, Bitcoin, to name a few. And he says, hang in there, guys. Hello, Mr. Charles. Thanks for all your... I know you like and comment on a bunch of the videos, so thanks. Appreciate it. I never talk about the smaller Bitcoin miners because, and I've got, you know, on this chart right here, I think I show DigiHost and DMG, Blockchain. A lot of the other ones aren't pure plays to the extent, or they're so unbelievably small that, to me, already the big Bitcoin miners are ultra high risk investments. By the time you get down to some of these miners that are mining 3 Bitcoin or 8 Bitcoin or 12 Bitcoin a month, it's very high risk. So I will tell you, since Bitcoin had its big downturn, I've gotten out of, I was in some of those stocks a year ago, but I really tried to gravitate to best in class when it was obvious things were taking a downturn. So I've gotten out of all of the OTC. I mean, it's funny because Bitfarms, Hive, Hut, those were all OTC stocks in the U.S., you know, until a year and a half ago. But they were established Bitcoin miners. Let's see. Person whose username I can't pronounce says it should say 7 transactions settled in a second. How long does it take to settle a payment in Visa?
Days.
A few months, this person is saying. So, and then we've got someone else saying they think Bitcoin's going to move sideways for the next 6 months. Well, that person is not alone. I know there's an awful lot of people that feel like we are bouncing off the bottom and we're not going anywhere soon.
ETF.
We got an ETF coming. So these are huge catalysts, right? It's still on the shelf, and another one just got rejected, but it's coming. Is it a year from now? Is it 2 years from now? Is it 8 months from now? I don't know, but that's going to be a monster catalyst. Welcome, Colton. Colton got my thank you. I will tell you guys, a lot of times, and I get some complaints about this, it's not about the thumbnails. So if you look at my thumbnails, they're supposed to be funny and almost satirical. And a lot of people get mad and say, "Oh, this is clickbait." But those of you guys that watch the channel, you know what's what. And Colton had mentioned something about that where he gets it. So I appreciate that. And, you know, I can't tell you how many times people are like, "Oh, clickbait." It's like, well, did you watch the video, and, you know, do you agree with it or disagree with it, and does it help you or not help you, or do you just want to argue about the thumbnail? And I understand. I don't like getting tricked into viewing other people's videos too, but, you know, most of the people in the Bitcoin space, it's mostly the same group here with all of us. Moonboots is saying, what we all need is a good squeeze play that we can all get in on Monday and 30x our money. Not saying anything, but BEEM. Beam. Someday. Eric is saying, accumulate on a slow way. Oh, Darren's asking, Moonboots, please squeeze Nikola and Cleanspark. Yeah, it would be great to have one of these Bitcoin miners squeeze. I don't know that that's around the corner. And you almost don't need him to squeeze, because when momentum picks up, the movement to the upside is even better than a short squeeze on these stocks. I mean, you guys, for those of you that were around long enough, I mean, I watched Riot and Marathon go from, you know, 35 or 50 cents to $80. I mean, and that was not over the course of 10 years. That was in about 15 months. So that's the kind of upside you can get. It's just we're not getting that right now, and we're feeling the pain on the other side, and it's not fun. And I don't know how long it's going to last. This is already longer than I expected it to last. That's just the truth. George?
Sorry, I'm in Never Never Land. I'm trying to pretend like I'm not here. Sorry.
You got, are you multitasking?
Yeah.
Oh, Colton's saying Mullen. Let's see if we can squeeze Mullen. Mullen's on my watch list. They're hitting all-time lows. I'm just going to go there real quick because they might have hit their all-time low again. That's too many. So it looks like they didn't close at their 52-week low, but it looks like they hit their 52-week low again today. I mean, they're at 23 cents. This was almost a $16 stock. And they're at 23 cents. So this is another one. Like, are they going out of business, or are they going to survive? Because if they survive, a 10x gets them to $2.30, which still leaves them down 85%. And, you know, I understand that also a lot of these got run up to places they never belonged. So many of these stocks, even if they recover and have a great 10 years, they're never going to get back to their all-time highs. They were at numbers they didn't belong at, you know, so it's not just a given, well, if they survive, they're going to get back to $15 or $16. But that wouldn't be my argument. My argument would be if they survive, they're not going to be at 23 cents. So Banks Money's asking, Beam is Beam Global. Yeah, Beam, and the company spells their name BEAM. They are electric vehicle charging station that's solar powered, 100% off the grid. They can roll it up, turn it on, and you're up and running. Tyler said, are you surprised you don't see Cleanspark management buying at these lows? Seems like a good way to win back investors upset with the compensation. You know. I don't know how to answer that. I feel like these guys, it does sometimes. Some of these companies do get to the point where they start doing stuff like that based on their stock activity. But I think management tries as hard as they can to just make the right decisions. Good management to just make the right decisions, and the stock will catch up. And you know, like you said, they're heavily incentivized with stock, which is what everybody's so mad about. But it's like, hey, if they win, we win. I don't mind management winning. Listen, if management takes them from 0.1 exahash to 22 exahash in 2 years, pay them. Please. I'm skeptical they're going to get to 22 exahash. And I think all their bonuses kick in by 10 exahash maybe. But even still, I mean, that's astronomical growth. Colton's asking, do you think the midterms will change anything when everyone votes red? Well, that's still a when or if. I never count on anything going into an election because you just never know. And so that's one we're going to have to, like, I can tell you what the Fed's going to do on November 2nd, but I don't know what's going to happen in the election. I think I know, but that doesn't mean that's what's going to happen. Hey, JJT, welcome. Yeah, Alex is saying Beam is under $11. I know, this is what I'm saying. It's like they're giving it away. Not financial advice. In my opinion, that stock is crazy low. And it's funny because sometimes it's mental. Like a stock at $11 is less likely to short squeeze than a stock at 87 cents. But it's got one thing's got nothing to do with the other. It's about market cap and percent of the float that's shorted. So this company right now, they're down to a $100 million market cap. They were a $40 stock within the last 52 weeks. They were higher than that. Yeah, they got up to 70. Yeah, $73. That's coming up on 2 years ago now. But they're a much more successful company right now than they were 2 years ago. Now, that was a part of that bubble where everything got to prices that, maybe they're not necessarily going to get back to. This is an instance where I think Beam will get back there and beyond. If you look at what this company does, I mean, this fits a very, very much needed demand, and they're not competing with the other EV charging stations. This is not a competition with them. This is in addition to the regular infrastructure that's needed. This is additional infrastructure that I think I'm a fan. Let's just say that. Darren saying paying management in options is cheaper than cash. Yeah, see, to me, I love paying management in options because then they got the same incentive as their stockholders do. They want the stock to go up. And in the Bitcoin mining sector in particular, it is such a capital intensive industry that you do not want to be giving cash to your management. You can't afford to give $5 million bonuses. You got to buy machines with that next $5 million. So it's a very capital intensive industry. And by management, the more stock management has, the more their goals align with investor goals, in my opinion. Now, if you think badly of management and they're going to abuse that and pump and dump, then, that's a determination you got to make on management. Alex is saying terrible news, George, but I may not be up to speed on the stream, so I don't know what he's talking about. Sorry, Alex.
Look at even my face went blurry.
Yeah. Are you there? Are you there, George?
I'm barely here. Terrible news, George. No, life, dude, it's just, listen to what Tom says is depressing and I have to tune it out sometimes. Yeah, they were saying that today, mortgage rates are at 7%. It's like the highest in like how many years? 30 some years.
We haven't had this in a long time, and I remember a long time ago I refinanced my mortgage down to 5%, and when I did that, I was like, I
Oh.
just got the best mortgage anyone's ever going to get in the history of the world, and it's pretty much been lower than that ever since then.
I got 2.5 is what I have right now. 15-year fixed, 2.5.
Unbelievable. See, that's gold.
15-year, 2.5. I know what I was watching. Want to hear one of the funny things?
Yeah,
I was watching.
definitely.
Do you remember that guy who used to be on YouTube? His name was, I forgot, Meet Kevin.
I think he still shows up from time to time.
Does he? He was in Florida and he got pulled over for DWI.
Oh.
And he shut down and wouldn't let them do anything. He's like, nope, he just shut up. He was blitzed, dude.
Oops.
And I can't even believe, was he coming down to see us? He was up in Tampa.
Yeah, he's in Tampa and he haven't come down
He's
and say hello.
Ybor City.
Right, you don't.
Ybor City?
Ybor City.
It's just crazy.
Which isn't really a city. It's just a couple of streets where there's a huge party 24/7.
Right.
For those of you familiar with it.
So, Seth, he did his own video. He did his own, yeah, I know, I'm not a big Meet Kevin fan anymore. I was in the beginning. I love the guy. But he, like, pieced together this video of the cop, with the video of him. But if you watch the whole video, which I did last night, dude, I mean, what was he driving for? I mean, there's 4 people in the car. He could have had somebody else drive. I just don't understand that.
Nobody thinks about that mistake. Well, I won't say nobody, but there's a lot of people that don't think about that. In this day and age with Uber and all your other options, if you're out there driving drunk, then, I mean, you're just rolling the dice in a way that is just not necessary at all. I mean, back in the day, it was harder to get around and, there was...
Yeah.
But at this point, it's like, take an Uber out, take an Uber home. I'm pretty sure Meet Kevin can afford an Uber. So
I'm pretty sure he can.
He may have had a bad year, but not that bad.
I don't even think he's had a bad year.
No, he actually bailed out early. So
yeah.
Sour Melon Gaming is asking a question that I want to answer because I think it's an important question. Do you believe Ben from Bitfarms on his response to the reverse split question? I feel he said that to keep investors calm, he has to respond or it would have looked bad. So I'm surprised he answered that question. I asked that question only because I know it really is the #1 question on everybody's mind. George is shaking his head no. He does not believe Ben. I do believe Ben. I really think there is almost no chance of a reverse stock split on Bitfarms.
Guys, I think Tom just guaranteed it.
Yeah, if you want to do my reverse fund, then there you go. Do the opposite. But I think there's a very, very, very unlikely scenario.
What is this thing right here? Oh my goodness, I'm losing my hair. It's a bad day.
We've got someone asking, what do you think from Nile, stock ticker N-I-L-E? My problem with them is they are not even close to a Bitcoin mining pure play. Like, I don't mind a little bit of a diversified business, but they got their hands in everything under the sun. I thought, and maybe they are, breaking their Bitcoin mining out as its own thing. If and when they do that, I would be more interested in it. But right now, it's not even it's not the majority of what they do. It's just a piece of many things that they do. Leon is asking, am I still bullish on Arrow? I've been watching it, see if it falls below 50 cents. I am still bullish on Arrow, and I have been slowly adding to my Arrow position, and I'm gonna show you why right now. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. I mean, you've got Arrow at 52 cents. The 52-week high is $3.37, but this was a $10 stock not too long ago. 15 or 18 months ago. This was a $10 stock. And my problem with that is market cap 20 million. So I'm gonna do the thing I always do. I mean, until somebody tells me why this is wrong. Look at their enterprise value. The market is valuing Arrow at negative $37 million. So there are only, I know of 5 or 6. You can count them on your hands, or maybe your hands and toes, the number of stocks that have a negative enterprise value. That is saying something so bad about a company. That's basically saying it's worth less than its cash minus its debt. There are some rare instances. If a company's in a cash burn situation where they got less than 1 year left in cash burn, then it doesn't matter. I can get a negative enterprise value at that point because they're imminently running into a problem. But unless you're in that situation, these guys have... Where's their cash? They have $58 million of cash and essentially zero debt. And they're a $20 million market cap company. So, yeah, they have a cash burn. Their cash isn't going to last forever, but also their sales are just starting to get online. So, that's a high-risk trade. Overall, in my mind, it's safe money. But there's no such thing as safe money. But I say that because when a company has so much more cash than market cap, I just don't know how much more downside there can be. This has gone down further than I ever imagined, but to me, I keep buying it. It's like if it goes to 40 cents, I'm going to buy more. I mean, if it fails, it fails, I guess. I don't know what to say. Seth is saying, I still watch Kevin. Well, maybe you can tell me because I could not bring myself to watch the video because the title was so monumentally stupid, I couldn't watch it. The last video I saw him put out was, the Fed is going bankrupt. So for anybody who knows how the Fed works, that's literally impossible. So I don't know what the content of that video was, but I couldn't do it. Barry saying, you guys are so lucky nobody in Europe gets fixed rate mortgages over a couple of years. Wow, that's a big, big difference. Yeah, almost all the mortgages here are either 15 years or 30 years. And they're almost all fixed rate mortgages. We did have a little problem 10, 15 years ago with some adjustable mortgages that turned into an absolute nightmare, you guys may remember, but yeah, it's mostly fixed rate 15 or 30-year mortgages. Let's see. JJT says, speaking about mortgage rates, maybe it's a good time to look into VOXTUR. Am I in the right place? Doesn't feel like it. Let me know if this is what I'm supposed to be looking at or if I'm in the wrong place. I'm trying to keep up. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to read the chat and keep up.
I'm making Tom work today.
Yeah. VOXTUR. All right, I'll have to look into this at some other time. I don't know what this is. Jeff, got some more Bitfarms at 89 cents. Hashtag load up. Yeah, I mean, I think in pre-market it was lower than that, but during market hours, 89 cents, I think, is its 52-week low. And it's its 2-year low. Basically, all these companies have taken out their 2021 and 2022 lows. Bitfarms is old enough that while they were not on the NASDAQ at that time, so this is their all-time low on the NASDAQ, but 89 cents is just ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous. And you can see it keeps running back up to $1. Almost every day at some point, it's over $1 for some period of time. And what did it close at, like 95 cents today? 95 cents. So it is a little under $1, but that is not... I am not worried about a reverse stock split in their situation.
I need to thank your son.
All right. For what?
I got a Spotify.
Oh, yeah, isn't that thing cool?
Did he get another one, or it says it's the car thing?
Yeah, you put it in your car, and so instead of,
Does he need me to bring this over to him?
I don't know. I don't know what he does. Did it come from Amazon? He orders a lot of stuff from Amazon.
Yeah, I might not get this one. I got Apple Music, so I mean.
Intercepted.
Let's see what it looks like.
Seth is saying he probably thought he had his self-driving enabled. Was he in his Tesla, George?
I think he was in a rented, like, Mercedes convertible. He was here in the state of Florida.
So he probably flew
Hey,
out in
I
the
respect him for not saying, "Do you know who I am?" People would have been, "I have not a clue, buddy."
Yeah, I don't think that's working on getting pulled over for drunk driving.
Especially in Florida. And if he would have been, cool, I don't know. It just seems like, that they could, you could smell the alcohol, and I mean, it puts
Crypto
the cop in a
golfer.
bad spot.
Yeah, it's a different world than it was. And Crypto Golfer said back in the day the state trooper would follow me home to make sure I was safe. And you know what? That was I think pretty common practice 30 years ago, 40 years ago. They weren't, this drunk driving thing has ramped up massively.
Okay.
They're really cracked down on it starting a long time ago.
Waiting for you.
You got to be
Yeah.
I would imagine you got to be my age or older to remember the days when that, the cop would just tell you, be safe and get straight home. Now that's not what happens anymore.
Well, I think it's more about money, personally. I mean, I know they care. Did you hear me?
It's all about the money.
It's all about the money.
It
money,
always is.
Money.
Tyler's saying, I agree with the stock compensation was focused more on them buying more on the open market. 100% behind CleanSpark management. All right. Banks is saying you're going to knock it out of the park with Beam at Moon Boots.
The only one that matters is no one ever talks about XRP.
Well, we're all waiting for you to bring it up, George.
XRP.
That's it. That's
my endorsement.
That's your analysis. I'm trying to catch up. I didn't realize how far behind I fell on the
Oh, you want me to do some? I'm
Alex,
just screwing around.
Alex is saying, can't sell if you can feather in. That's investing, long-term investing. Exactly. JJT, for everybody's information, has a 20-year mortgage at a fixed rate of 1.7% in the Netherlands. So you have the best mortgage in the world.
Who does? 1.7?
1.7% 20-year mortgage.
Wow, that is.
That's listen, if there's one better than that, that's good enough. That's almost free money. That's crazy.
I'm on strike, Barry, by the way. I'm the chat reader.
Oh, Barry saying, yeah, I thought George's job was chat reader.
Yeah,
Usually
I just,
that.
I'm on strike today.
I'm not sure what happened to George today.
I don't know.
Come on, this is not George. This is not the George we know.
I know. I just was reading. I start reading about rules and regulations from the government, and I just. You don't want my opinion.
Well, and right now George is doing a lot of stuff because of the hurricane. There's a lot of construction going on, and the rules and regulations in and around construction, and more rules around water, and more rules on top of that around mold. I mean, there's no end to the rules. So.
And it's so funny because I do asbestos, and throw that out the window. That doesn't matter. That probably kills more people than mold.
Yeah, they don't really seem to care too much about that in Florida, as far as I can tell. Even though there's a lot of asbestos.
I know. I mean, we went into a job, Tom and I go, you see that? That's asbestos. 9x9s. Oh, really? They start kicking it. I'm like, we're good. We're out.
I don't want to pronounce this wrong, but QWERTY is asking me what I think of the moon landing. I believe in the moon landing. I'm not. I don't consider myself a conspiracy theorist.
Do you believe in that? Really? You really believe in the moon landing?
Absolutely. You do not believe
Tom,
in
do you
the
believe
moon
in
landing?
the moon landing? Yeah, I'm on the fence too. I would agree with that.
Let's see more proof. And I want to see that there's proof that there's only one moon.
Thomas. Oh, Tom's referencing. That's our friend Tom. We watched some videos last night. You want to talk about being discouraged? We watched some videos where they just ask people on the street questions, and it's like they asked like 15 people, how many moons does the Earth have? And like nobody knew the answer. It's like I can't even believe what I was seeing. It's frightening. And it was a lot of people, so, you know, even if they just cherry-picked the people that answered incorrectly, it's still too many. To me, there should be nobody that doesn't know the answer to that, right? If you were raised by wolves in the woods and never had contact with humans, you would still know that we have one moon. So that was very disheartening, and there were many other
We
questions.
only have one moon?
Just the one. Although there is a theory that another object crashed into the other side of our moon and two objects collided, which is why the other side of the moon is so drastically different than the side that we see. But I do believe in the moon landing. I don't know if that was a real question. Do you believe in the moon landing?
Me?
I'm asking QWERTY. Pronouncing that
I don't
wrong.
believe in the moon landing, just so you know.
George does not believe in the moon landing.
I do not believe in the moon landing. If they could just tell me one thing and I would be okay with it. And it was the flag. The flag one is the one that gets me.
Because the flag was waving.
Yes, that's the one. And then the footprint.
You would leave a footprint. Why wouldn't you leave a footprint? There's gravity on the moon.
I don't know. I think
there's an atmosphere and gravity on the moon.
Yeah, but I don't think it was so. If you look how deep it is, and how many pounds of pressure it was.
Those were moon boots, though. You gotta remember.
Yeah, no, I don't think so, Tim.
They don't make them like that anymore.
And do you remember them walking
on the moon?
Supposedly the gravity on the moon. Sorry, I'm gonna get into technical stuff. I don't want to do it.
Don't do it.
The gravity on the moon. Supposedly you would bounce up a lot higher.
Well, that's why they had special boots. That really is true. They had special boots to counteract the fact that the moon's gravity is like a third of the Earth's gravity, or maybe even less.
And then I went to Washington D.C. and I saw the what was that thing called, the spaceship or the thing that they landed on the moon with, the Apollo. Yeah, dude, it's like a tin can.
Hey, listen.
But okay. You're making me go deeper.
Don't do it.
Why can't we do it? Why can't we do it now? Why can't we just snap our fingers and go back right now?
We could go back to the moon. Most people don't realize we did go to the moon many, many times. We haven't been there in a long time.
Earliest right now is 2035. So if we've been there before, why can't we snap our fingers and get back there? I'll give them 3 years.
If that was their mission, remember there was a space race. You know, there was two world superpowers in a race to the moon. So it was you know, all hands on deck. No risk is too big. No job is too big. No fee is too big. Anybody know that one?
Yeah, I can just tell you right now. As you see the world now to what the world was back in the 60s, come on.
I I can't. I'm not. I am not going to be the person that changes your mind. You are allowed to believe that we did not land on the moon.
Oh, I didn't say we didn't land on the moon.
What? You just said you didn't believe in the moon landing.
No, I believe people landed on the moon. I just don't know if they were humans.
Oh, okay. This is definitely. We're gonna have a special conspiracy theory aliens moon landing live stream on a separate live stream, so you can join us next week on that one. Moon Boots is saying, I started with $100 20 years ago, and now I have 2 houses, 4 cars, and I put 6 kids through college. So, that's long-term investing. Congratulations.
That is awesome.
True.
But here's my question. I've been doing this a lot lately. How many years was that over? How many years did he say it was over? 20 years?
20 years.
Do you think the next 20 years would be the same as the previous 20 years?
That's
my question.
Well,
I don't know. I don't
think
my answer is no. My answer is no, by the way. Because I don't see the return on homes being what they were. I think this last go around, man, it's been amazing. This last 7 years on homes have just been whew.
Well, after they all, homes were illiquid 15 years ago. You couldn't sell one at any price in the U.S. anyway.
Wow.
Alex is saying liquidity for Argo made them sell to CleanSpark. Yeah, do we know it was CleanSpark that bought those machines? I mean, they're the ones buying everything, but yeah, they got a liquidity problem. It's disturbing. I mean, they raised $27 million, raised $31 million, and don't sell your machines. It's just a very bad look, in my opinion. And the market agreed because they were down 57% off of their all-time lows. So that one was not received well. Not that any of the Bitcoin mining stocks are doing great.
Well, here's the other thing. Why wouldn't we have built on the moon, the space station? Why would we have it floating around?
Well,
don't you think
there's
people
a different purpose
dizzy?
for both of those. They don't get dizzy. That's not how it works.
I mean, aren't they turning upside down when they spin around?
These are trained professionals who have been trained
I'm upside down
to be in 0 G's. Let me tell you, the opposite's worse. There's that stupid ride at Disney that's 2 G's that emulates it like you're on a rocket, and I felt like and this was just 2 G's, and I know people pull a lot more than that when they're flying, jets and that kind of stuff. 2 G's, I thought I was going to die. So
you gotta read what Jeff just wrote. I don't know if I like you, Jeff.
I gotta catch up. Let's see. Man, how do I fire this Falba? I'm an options trader against my shares. I almost welcome a reverse for the higher premiums. I accumulate 9K in fees. Bitfarms shares this year so far while holding. Yeah, I mean, that's a good No, there's nothing. That's a good strategy. You're selling. I think what you're saying is you're selling calls as you hold the stock. And, for when a stock is going sideways or down, then that's all free money. So that has been a good strategy for the last 10 months. Michael Anthony is saying if you buy a miner, then it should be debt-free with plenty of cash, but Europe banking sector is going to hurt all stocks with the problems in Europe.
I know. Amen
yeah,
to
so
that.
we've been hearing whispers about that over here. Let's see. I missed some stuff still. Stoner George conspiracy special. Next 20th of April. Next 420. What's funny is George does not do any drugs. I hope you don't mind me telling this. He does not drink alcohol. Sure. Nothing. Never did his whole life. I've known him since he was a kid.
Never once.
You're probably the only person I know that's true of.
I know. It's pretty. That's why I can run for president. Now,
Sure.
now, women and that other stuff that you do, we got a problem.
That's for definitely even a different live stream. Maybe that's for no live stream at all. Michael Anthony said Tesla's even making new lows today, and if you buy a penny stock, should be in the energy sector, and no debt is the best way to buy, like SPWR. Is that an ETF or is that a stock? SPWR.
Oh, sorry.
See, the question that you asked, George, oh, SunPower. Sorry, I didn't recognize it.
What question did I ask?
When you said, is the next 20 years going to be like the last 20 years? And my answer to that would be different. It would be that it may not be. So the last 20 years, 20 years ago, if you invested in the blue chip stocks, you know, the tried and true safe stocks, you pulled some 10Xs, 15Xs, 20Xs. I'm not sure that's going to happen again. I mean, Apple, at one point, they were well over $3 trillion market cap. So I don't see Apple as a $30 trillion company 10 or 20 years from now. But what I do see is on the other side of this equation, in the mid cap and the small cap stocks, there are thousands, if not tens of thousands of stocks down between 80% and 99%. Somewhere in that great big pile of stocks, there are plenty of good stocks because everything got taken out. So I think the job of the modern day investor is to sort through that pile, do your due diligence, and find some stocks where, no, they're not going to probably behave very well for the next 6 months or a year. But just based on their fundamentals, you know, doing a valuation, they're clearly very underpriced. And, you know, those are the ones. And that's why I spend so much time in the Bitcoin mining sector. There's stocks, you know, Bitcoin, you know, if Bitcoin fails, obviously, then all these companies fail. But if Bitcoin just gets healthy at all, you know, if it gets back to 40,000 over the next 2 or 3 years.
I was going to say, what is healthy?
If Bitcoin's at 40,000 by the halving, and I believe that's unbelievably conservative. What do you guys think? Okay. Poll.
I actually think it's healthy now.
You think it belongs at this number?
I think it's healthy. I don't know why people don't think it's healthy. Why don't you think it's healthy?
Because it's down significantly from its
That doesn't
highs.
mean it's not healthy, though. I think what's good about Bitcoin is it's been stable.
Well, it's definitely
with all
stabilized.
the uncertainty.
That's very true. It's behaved.
That's healthy.
I agree with you 100%. The last probably 60 days, Bitcoin's been behaving very well. Not that it's running up, but it has taken every blow the market has to throw at it, and it's still sitting here at 19,000, right where it was when it started. I'm just making a poll.
What? Don't tell me about what? Yeah, I realized something, Tom. I'm a hoarder. If you have a building that's over 10,000 square feet and it's filled with your junk, you might be a hoarder.
That is the problem with a lot of space. I think human beings are prone to fill the space that they have. So you got to get rid of the warehouse.
I'm not getting rid of the warehouse. It makes me too much money.
Yeah, the warehouse is mostly full of stuff that you're renting space with and making money on. So if you're hoarding a little bit elsewhere, there are definitely a few novelty items in the warehouse. Hey-o! I did a poll, but I don't know how these work, so...
Oh, did you? Let me see what the poll said. I don't see. It just has 4 numbers.
So
It doesn't show anything on top.
Bitcoin after the halving.
Oh, I did 20. I didn't mean 20. Oh well, mine was wrong.
Oh, we got a pretty close race here. There's no definitive. Everybody, there's only 8 votes. So the question is, what is Bitcoin going to be after the halving? So, you know, that's going to happen, I think, somewhere early to mid, maybe like April of 2024. So I put choices, 40,000, 60,000, 100,000, or is it still going to be sitting here at 20,000? What's the most likely case scenario? Some of you may think
Mine would have been 40,000, but I did 20 by accident. Can I redo my vote?
I don't know. Maybe.
No, you cannot.
We only got 9 votes, so...
Oh, look at that. Look at that. It's almost down the middle.
I know. It's a even split so far, so everybody else has to weigh in. What do you think? Where's Bitcoin going? Essentially, where's Bitcoin going to be 2 years from now is the question. We will have already had a halving at that point. So where are we going?
Why did 9 people look at my LinkedIn this week?
I don't know.
Just women that hit on you anywhere.
Let's see. QWERTY, or however you pronounce that, said, "Thanks, Tom. I'm with George. I don't believe the government about anything. LOL."
LOL.
Well, I'm going to half agree with you there. It's hard to... I don't believe anything I hear from almost anybody anymore, so... This is the day of misinformation for whatever reason, but I feel like that will pass. I'm hoping that's a phase.
100K, so I voted 20. See?
Bob said, we are going back to the moon, I assume he's talking about.
We're not going back to the moon.
We need to go to Elon Musk wants to go to the moon. I mean, not personally himself, but his company. He wants to set up shop on the moon. So,
yeah. Well, can you imagine what the building requirements are going to be up there?
Hey, first one there. There's no rules. I think there's some treaty where everybody agreed not to claim the moon as their territory, but that'll hold up until somebody has the ability to go to the moon and stay there, and then that'll be gone. Alex is saying, why do we need to go back, George? Straighten out the formed flag wave.
I'm telling you, why do we need to go back? I mean, why did we ever go in the first place?
John's saying we're going to Mars first before we go
I
back
agree
to the
with
moon.
that.
That is a trip I would not take.
What is it going to take, like 3 years or something like that out there?
You know, first of all, you got to time it right when the planets are aligning, because due to the orbit. And even then, it's going to take a couple of years, I think, right now. And you're talking about traveling, you know, that's on the magnitude of how far away the sun is. The moon's right there. The moon's like 250,000 miles away from us. People have driven more than that in a year. So the moon's a hop, skip, and a jump.
Space.
The final frontier.
Yeah. Have anybody noticed, like, these new passwords that you have to put in? It's like a nightmare on anything.
I'm catching up. Oh, Alex, it blocked that. I just had to unblock one of your things. It automatically blocked it. It depends on what is.
Exactly.
Those of you over a certain age know exactly what that's a reference to. I didn't inhale. Yep, that guy. Yeah, we remember him. Alex is saying, I think it's Mars that Musk wants to go to and colonize. I mean, Mars scares me. I would go to the moon, but I'm not going to Mars. Probably not going to the moon either, by the way, but...
One of these days, Alice.
Phonebook San said we should band together for our Bitcoin miners' earnings in 2025 and take over the moon. That's right. The money we make from Bitcoin will go to the moon. We'll put a call into Elon. See what happens. George, you got his number?
You want to know what's funny? I haven't talked to him in about 2 weeks. But you want to know what's funny?
What?
I sent out public storage, so listen to this one. During the hurricane, we do mitigation. We have like drying equipment. It dries out homes and stuff like that. During the during the hurricane, they shut down our unit and we couldn't get into it. I sent Todd Abraham, Regional Vice President of Public Storage, didn't even respond to me. And say, I didn't even respond, didn't even you know what I mean?
Yeah, so that was an unusual experience. George has a lot of equipment to, when an emergency hits, to go do the water removal. It's Emergency Water Removal is the name of the company. So that's in a storage unit, and the storage unit said, sorry, we're closed. You can't get your stuff. And we don't know when we're going to open. So
I still think I have to sue him.
Is it worth it, though? Is it almost... I feel like it's almost
I don't know,
never
is it?
worth it.
Well, I just hate that people will not respond back to you. Oh, this guy was, he's no longer with, you think he could have told me that. He's no longer with Public Storage.
There you go. You've cleared his name. Oh, everybody, thanks. Everybody, a lot of people smashed the like button. So anybody who hasn't, if you could, it always helps the channel. Thank you very much.
I just did it.
You smashed the like button?
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder if
I better
can
go
smash the
or
like
I'm gonna get fired. I need to go get on the moon.
All right, you're gonna check out, George. You want to see the final poll here?
Just so you know, the other thing that's still gonna crash crypto is Tether.
Oh,
Sorry.
You think there's a Tether situation out there as well?
Yep.
The update on the poll: 27 votes. In first place is 100K with 41%.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
And then a tie.
I would have probably voted that.
A tie, 40,000 and 60,000 both got 22%, and 20,000 got 15%, one of which was an accident by George.
So here's last question, and I'll watch the comments since I won't be here. Do people believe that Bitcoin is a failed project? That's my question. Are we need to get out of Bitcoin miners because it's a failed project?
Well, that's the $10 trillion question.
I don't think so, just so you know. I do not.
You guys would laugh at me so hard if you saw me try to use this thing. I just ended the poll. I couldn't get it off my screen, so I just ended it. That was the only way I knew how to get rid of it.
All right, see you guys.
All right, George, thanks for joining us. All right, I'm just reading here. Ed saying, hope we hold 19K this weekend. Gonna jump off in a minute. Thanks for the videos, Tom. You're welcome, Ed. Thanks for joining us on the live stream. Glad to have all you guys here. How do you like Vox earnings with all the insider buying? I got to look at that, Michael. To tell you the truth, I have not looked into that. So as always, when I'm done with this stream, I will review all of these comments and grab the ones that require follow-up on my part. Alex is saying, go, baby, go, 100,000K Bitcoin. You know, it's funny because if we had that poll a year ago, everybody would have been mad that 100K was the highest number on the poll. It would have been 100% 100K. And if I had put 200K, that would have done well in the poll. So here we are a year later, and, you know, that seems like a pipe dream, but that's the volatility of cryptocurrency. We got some people saying no. I don't know what the question was, but the answer is no. Says Rolla 420 and Barry both agree no. Alex says, now do you make new coins then without miners? Colton says, bye, George. You mean like a different coin than Bitcoin? Darren, Bitcoin predictions. Day of halving, 60K, plus or minus 10%. 9 months following the halving, 200K. I could see that. I could see that. That's similar to what has happened in the past. It's not always like at the halving or before the halving. So we definitely could have a massive run up in the months that follow that. Yeah, I mean, I think Bitcoin is here to stay. I don't see any scenario where this could possibly turn. I can't say that. Anything is possible, of course. So with that qualifier, I just can't see a scenario where Bitcoin ceases to exist. We're way, that ship has sailed, in my opinion, a long time ago. Okay, Frank is asking, how do you feel about Mara? Can it go back to its 52-week low or even lower? I think that, I'm going to go back to my chart. Mara is still almost double its lows from this summer. It got down to $5. So the answer to that is, I don't think it's going back to its low, but it's absolutely a possibility. And even if it doesn't go back all the way back to its low, there's a lot of room left to the downside on Marathon. So depending on how Bitcoin goes and how the market goes here over the next weeks and months, you know, we could. I've been saying we're bouncing along the bottom. I'm sticking to my story. I called in June when we hit 17.5. I said that was the bottom. So that's my personal opinion. Take it for whatever it's worth. That has held. We're 4+ months away from that now. That has held ever since. We really haven't even come close to testing it. I think that's going to hold. But I could be wrong because I will tell you, George thinks we're going to test numbers a lot lower than that. So that's his personal opinion. So you guys, I mean, let me know what you think. What I do think is we're bouncing along the bottom, and I just don't know how long that's going to last, and they can continue. As you can see, I mean, look at this part of the chart. Down 1, 2, 3, 4 stocks are down 25%, and there's 4 more that are even worse than that, and that's not down off their high. That's down from their all-time lows. So, I mean, there's no amount of pain seems to be too much here in this sector. It's unbelievable, but you got to ask, this is when you got to step back and go, okay, I don't know what they're going to do in the next 90 days, but what's going to be in the next 3 years? What's going to be in the next 5 years? What's going to be in the next, you know, that's at this point, you got to be looking at it at that time. If it's a Bitcoin miner you believe in, you know, if their story has changed, if their financial position has changed, you know, then there could be reasons. Some of these stocks, you know, yeah, Mawson has had radical changes to their company. So does that mean they deserve to be down 57% off their all-time low? I don't know, but at least I understand they've had radical changes to their company. So has Stronghold, stock ticker SDIG. Their business model has changed drastically since the beginning of this year. So, you know, big moves there make sense to me. Big moves in core scientific, I think a lot of people are scared of that debt. Big moves in CleanSpark make no sense to me. I've been saying that all along. Bitfarm down 9% from its lows from this summer makes no sense to me. There's a bunch of buying opportunities, I think, on here, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to go lower. But I will tell you guys, I have a position in Hut and Riot. I haven't added to that in a while just because you can see these are, other than Marathon, these are the big green bars on here. So there's just too much downside left. And Marathon, I'm not going to average in up 100% off of its lows from this summer. I'm just too nervous on that one. And, you know, they may end up winning the whole game and being the you know, the biggest one on the block, but as for now, they haven't showed that yet. So that's only my personal opinion. But yeah, there's massive Marathon's one where there's massive upside, but there still could be short-term massive downside. Let me catch up here. Did you look at any of the miners selling stock at the market in recent weeks? So I don't know. I don't know what they've done in recent weeks. I'm hopeful that other than those that was an absolute last resort, that nobody is using their at the market right now. And if you look in the quarterlies, you usually see these companies have been pretty responsible with their at the market as far as the share price goes. Now, you know, Bitfarms selling stock at $1, Cleanspark selling stock at $2.80 something cents. I certainly hope they're not doing that. Alex is saying, no Bitcoin without miners. How do you make new coins? Miners provide energy, curtailment back to the grid. Look at Riot, Hive, Bitfarms, others. That's the story. Alex, you're 100% right. And that is the story that we are a small group of people, and we know that story. Somehow, that is not getting out to the rest of the world. And that's a big part of the digi-economists thing, is that Bitcoin is a gigantic drag on the grid at peak hours. And it's like, that couldn't be further from the truth. All of these Bitcoin miners participate in curtailment. They've all added to the grid. So when they curtail, that's actually increasing the amount of energy in the grid, not decreasing. So that's literally 100% wrong. But that's not the story. I mean, that's not what you hear if you look out there. That's not the word on the street. And I don't know when that's going to change. So it will change someday. And again, there's a lot of reasons. A part of this could be, you know, a lot of big money is still accumulating Bitcoin, and they don't want that part of the story out yet. So, you know, when they're done and they're ready for this thing to go, you know, I guess that's when it'll go. We need the truth to be known. Kudab, which is George, is saying Bitcoin pricing is controlled. JM, let's not spread the ESG FUD. Yeah, I'm trying to do the opposite of spread the ESG FUD. I would love to try to tell and I am going to do, now there's 2 studies, so I'm doing, and they're not easy to put together because it's a massive amount of information, but I want to directly respond to them instead of just generically saying, these studies are awful. Jeff's asking, Tom, can you speak about if Bitfarms did do a reverse, pros and cons in your opinion? I think it's different with a miner, fixed cost, still profitable and growing. Nothing has changed. I mean, we have 2 examples in recent history. I'm going to use DigiHost is not a fair example because DigiHost also has had some dramatic change in business circumstances. So they did a reverse stock split, and they're all the way back down under $1 again. So it's easy to look at that and be terrified of a reverse stock split. But look at what happened to their business. Their business was undermined by the state of New York in a major, major way. They've had to pretty much regroup and start from scratch. So the other one would be Hive. And really, you know, Hive was shooting to be at $5, and they're at $3. But if you look at their stock performance, well, we're looking at it. Here's Hive. So this is after the reverse split. Here's the performance of all the Bitcoin miners. Hive did a reverse stock split, and they're in 5th place. They're one of only 6 miners that are positive over the last 100 days. So did it hurt Hive? It did not hurt Hive. A lot of people were jumping up and down that was going to kill Hive. And, you know, it did in the short term. They got crushed for that in the short term. But it evened itself out very quickly. So, you know, no, it's not. If they have to do a reverse stock split, And I don't even think they would have to do anything more than a 2-for-1 or 1-for-2 or whatever it is. Or if they did 3 or whatever they did. And again, I don't think they're going to do it, but I think that there would be a little short-term knee-jerk reaction, which I would take as a buying opportunity, and then I think it would even out. Because to me, now Hive has a very strong balance sheet, so there's a lot of reasons that's a good investment, but Bitfarms' growth has been insane this year. So, if their stock's going to get beat up and they end up having to do a reverse split, it's not something that would worry me, in my opinion. So Jeff's saying maybe use Hive as an example. So yeah. So so I went through that. The Hive is up. Now they're down from the day they announced the reverse split, but Bitcoin crashed after that. So everything's down. But you can see in comparison to the competition, they're actually doing quite well. And that includes the fact that, they can't mine Ethereum anymore. So I'm actually I'll tell you, that's probably the biggest surprise on this particular chart to me. I think Hive stock has held up very strong, all things considered. All right, let's see. I'm losing my place. Colton, I finally bought Carnival today. Yeah, that one's been hitting new. I think that one's. Is that the one messing around with its 30-year low, or is that just 10-year lows? I mean, that stock got. I think that's the one that's hit its 30-year low. It's crazy, and it's hit a bunch of new lows since I even did that video. Marathon has shown the best consistent price growth in the last 2 years, and this is Wisdom Bites saying this, in the last 2 years, and usually the winners keep winning and the losers keep losing. I mean, they're still up. It all depends on when you bought into Marathon. If you bought into Marathon in November of 2022, you are in a world of pain. If you bought into Marathon, November of 2021. If you bought into Marathon in November of 2020, you're still 10x. So it's definitely relative. And Marathon's definitely behaved the best over the last 100 days. Michael Anthony is saying better off playing the ETFs for Bitcoin like BITO and BTF. So if you can't do the due diligence and spend the time and keep up and you can't diversify across your own portfolio of Bitcoin miners, and that doesn't mean you got to buy 10 of them. Even just picking your top 3, I think, is a good way to diversify. And, pick different strategies. Don't pick 3 companies that are doing the exact same thing, because that means all 3 of them are either going to fail or succeed. You want to diversify with different strategies. And all of these Bitcoin miners have different strategies. No 2 are the same. So if you can't do all that, then yeah, you can go to an ETF. Michael Anthony said, Bitcoin miners use energy. Yes. Bitcoin miners also make a lot of heat where they don't use much heat in the winter. Well, I mean, that depends where you're talking about. That's one of the beauties of a lot of these North American mining companies, and I'll talk about Hive and Bitfarms. They're all hydroelectricity, and they generate a massive amount of heat in an area that suffers from extreme cold temperatures. So, there's and the vice versa can be true. So, yeah, I mean, no one's arguing that Bitcoin clearly uses energy. For me, if you look at the facts, if you do a deep dive, in my opinion, it's far less than the amount of energy that just gets wasted based on the fact that we lack the ability to move and store energy. So we waste a lot of energy because we just don't have the technology to keep it. So I'd rather see them use it mining Bitcoin than do nothing. JM said, you're doing a great job on the videos. Keep going. Thank you, JM. I appreciate that. Chris Dominator, I sold 182K of Bitfarm today and bought Riot instead. So you switched from Bitfarm to Riot. I mean, those are two of my bigger positions, so you know, I can't complain about that either way, but I'm not selling my Bitfarm. I'm not doing it. Michael, Beyond is going to make a new low next week. Yeah, they had to work their way back down to that. They had a big run up, but now they're running back down to new lows. And the computers have taken over. They're doing the selling. Yeah, well, wait for the new low. That's a highly volatile, high risk stock as well. It's one I follow. Jeff said, "Thank you, Tom. I thought the same thing as I mentioned Hive. I knew they were hanging in there after the split. Thank you for the response. You're welcome." Can you please do so? Lexi's asking, can you please do an analysis on Fubo? I can do an analysis on Fubo. I keep a very close eye on them. So I've done a couple of videos, but it's been a while because the last time I put a video out, it got almost no views at all. So I felt like nobody cared anymore. Now, they went on a huge run since then, so there's an awful lot to update. And Fubo is a company that I do like, but there's some pros and cons with Fubo, so I could do another video on Fubo for sure. Wisdom Bites says, CleanSpark is held back by the checkered past of its CEO. So I don't know about the CEO's checkered past unless you're just referring to their performance with CleanSpark. I don't know if there's something beyond that. I mean, I just look at performance. They give detailed monthly operational reports. And, you know, then once a quarter you get to check in on that information with the 10K or 10Qs and the 10K once a year. So, I mean, that's how I do this. And yeah, you know what? Management is important. There's no question about it. So if for a specific reason your gut doesn't feel good about management, then you're probably going to lose money on the stock because you're going to buy high and sell low. So that's definitely true for all investors. Darren said, Hive did the reverse split because institutions were only interested in buying stocks that were above $5. So, you know, that was their goal, was to do the reverse split and get above $5. What they didn't know, unfortunately, it was very bad timing. Bitcoin was about to crash. So between the time they announced it and the time they did it, Bitcoin crashed. And so they didn't even end up getting above $5. I think they did run back up to over $7, I think, somewhere in the middle in that nice run up we had in August, but they're off of those highs now. The other thing I can tell you, just from looking at my own accounts, there's certain accounts that I had where I went from, you know, Hive being 0% margin to a 50% margin. So, you know, it allowed a lot of people, and I don't really use the margin anyway, but you know, I look at on one of my accounts is Robinhood, and it's just right there on the page. It shows you, you know, what level of margin you're allowed to use against holding those positions. So, you know, I think to make it available to investors who use margin, to make it available to, there are a lot of institutions that just don't look at stocks under $5. Some of them do, though. That's a rule of thumb, but it's not a rule. Alex is saying the CleanSpark executive compensation was 100% stock issued at $4. Think is what Matt Schultz said in his YouTube video. Yeah, so for me, I have no problem with that. Stock incentives, great. Barry says, Binance Pool starts 500 million fund to support Bitcoin mining. Binance kept the money for the crypto winter. Oh, I did not know that. Michael Anthony says, I don't like Fubo because they have lots of debt and will report a loss on earnings. So they're going to report a loss on earnings this year. They're going to report a loss on earnings next year as well. They're not cash flow positive. So those are the strikes against Fubo. However, their business model, in a different climate, this would be a stock that would be going through the roof. But we're in the absolute worst market environments for a company like this. That is your small cap, high growth. They're not pre-revenue. In fact, their revenue is growing extremely well, and they've got some new lines of revenue coming in that are going to help. But they are they're pre-positive cash flow and they're pre-income net income. So, those types of stocks are not being treated well by the market right now. So, I mean, you're not wrong about that. Alex said, I learned from the marathon video that 8 to 10% of the energy from the grid is lost. Miners collect and use. Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm saying. Like, a lot of what, first of all, a lot of the energy that miners use is green. It's just straight up green energy. Second of all, a lot of it is energy that is otherwise going to go to waste. So it can either be wasted or used to mine Bitcoin. So that, and understanding the fact, what people really need to understand is Bitcoin miners have a motivation to be more energy efficient than almost any other business, maybe any other business in the world. So there's going to be innovation that comes out of that. And it is an enhancement to the grid right now. And, like they said, they're using some energy that otherwise just would simply be wasted. And a lot of energy gets wasted. I mean, I don't know if you guys do a deep dive on our ability to store energy, we're light years away from being where we need to be on that. That is when we're going to have an updated grid that is a game changer. If we could store and move energy around and hold it for longer periods of time, that's going to happen, but we're not there at all yet. Wisdom Bite says, historically, Zach Bradford has lied to CleanSpark investors regularly, previously to becoming a Bitcoin miner. So far, he has done well as Bitcoin miner, but many investors don't trust him. Okay, so yeah, I didn't know there was that background with him. All the Bitcoin miners charts are broken and they are at support today, but I don't think the support levels will hold next week. So that's going to be we're going to see next week. I really thought this was, and I've been fooled now. If this one doesn't hold, then this will be the fourth time I've been fooled. We've had the perfect setup to go into, and I'm not looking for a bull market. I'm looking for a 2 to 3 week relief rally, and we keep getting right to the precipice, and it keeps failing. So that may happen. I'm hoping today was a red Friday, and Monday we turn around. I think there's a possibility that this rally still happens, but if it doesn't, I'll tell you this, I bought nothing today. So, because all we really did today is give back what we got yesterday. So I did not feel there was anything for me to add to that I haven't already done. So even with a big down day like this, I actually didn't make any purchases. Darren says green hydrogen will be the energy storage and move ability we need going forward. Yeah, I'm big time on hydrogen, so I agree with you on that. It's almost like electric vehicles are actually in the way of hydrogen, because really, in my opinion, we should just be going to hydrogen. It's so much greener. It's so much more efficient. Now, we need to improve the technology a lot more, but, there's a lot less being spent on improving that technology because of the fact that, for now, clearly electric cars are the next phase of what's happening. I think hydrogen cars are the phase after that, and there have been hydrogen cars for a long time, but not in any mass production. Darren's saying today we filled the gap. So, all right, I think we've been going for a while, so I'm going to wrap it up unless anybody has any other questions or thoughts. Let's see where Bitcoin ended up. So, this is the 15-minute time frame. Very, very little movement. you know, this is the line I want to hold. So we are slipping a little below this line, but really 19,000. We need to stay above 19,000 all weekend long, hopefully, and we can bounce back from that. Alex is saying we are years from splitting away from oxy and water splitting molecule for hydrogen storage. Yeah, I mean, I'm not even talking about the storage aspect of it. The hydrogen's everywhere. So you almost really don't have to store it. It's wherever you want it to be. So I do think there will be technological improvement on that, and there are a few hydrogen plays out there that had a big run up. They've gotten beaten down badly since then, and we're even further away than we would be because there's a massive focus on the electric vehicles. And there can be no question, whether you like them or hate them or whatever you want, electric vehicles are happening. We're in the middle of it, so it's happening. So, all right, I'm going to wrap it up. I hope everybody has a good weekend. Another Red Friday, so, you know, not the best, but not the worst, and we're still hanging around at 19,000. So, to me, like George said earlier, actually, Bitcoin has been pretty healthy now for a little while. It's been sideways, and the market's been more volatile than Bitcoin, and that's a switch. You know, we haven't seen that in a long time. So, I feel like Bitcoin's holding its own. If it can hold its ground, I think we can go up from here, but time will tell. All right, so I'm signing off. Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend, and we will see you. I'll definitely do some videos over the weekend, and to the members, I'll see you guys in the members-only live stream on Tuesday. So thanks again, and have a great weekend.